This is Clubhouse Boxing, and this is what was a very sweaty Chris Billam-Smith 15 minutes ago, freshly showered, but back in the gym with us. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. Still a bit sweaty, to be honest, but no, it's all good, thank you.
Looked like a bit of a strong session. Load of blokes in here doing the thing. How was it? You've just been obviously taking on a lot of carbs, quite intense, I imagine.
Yeah, it was a circuit. Wednesdays is always our circuit day, so it's always, most people, I think, despise the session, but know that it's what gets us the results on, is a big part of getting us a result on fight night.
Well, before we talk boxing, five or so months late, congratulations on the birth of your second child. You've obviously been here before. How are you finding that work-life balance this time around? Are things any easier?
Nah, 10 times harder. First time round, I got offered a fight when my oldest son Frank was 4 weeks old. That was a Chamberlain fight, so we had to take that, headlining on Sky Sports in my hometown for the first time. That was an opportunity too good to turn down. Got straight into a 5-week camp, being the heaviest I've ever been, and very much had a dad bod when I started camp. Obviously that was difficult, but it was such a short space of time where I was away, and obviously we only had the one at the time, but 2 is different. From one to 2 is different, especially when the oldest is 3.5-year-old nutcase. But he's great fun, but a lot of energy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how involved you are with like the changing the nappies and doing the feeds, or if you've been having like many sleepless nights or anything. I mean, I haven't got kids, but the thought of that sort of stuff stresses me out. So I imagine it would be like quite a bit of a nice release for you to get to come to the gym and smash the shit out of a punch bag.
Yeah. I mean, when I'm home, I'm involved. The first few weeks is very much just taking the oldest one out and being entertaining him, which has probably got me fit for camp, to be honest, and running rings around me. But yeah, it's mad. I never thought coming to training camp would be a rest, but it really is. It's bless my wife, she's at home now with 2 of them during the week, Monday to Friday. So yeah, she's definitely got the short straw.
Well, it sounds like there's a lot going on at work and at home, so we do appreciate you letting us in here today. Obviously, we're going to talk boxing now then. So your boxer deal expired back end of last year. Still a free agent. Only one fight last year. We've just mentioned you obviously had a lot going on last year with a pregnant wife at home, but I imagine you still wanted to be more active than what you was. Could boxer not get you the fights and deals you wanted, and that's why you haven't re-signed? Obviously, I'm losing that Sky deal, and the majority of the biggest names tells me something wasn't quite right there.
I think they were obviously in contract with him to the end of the year, and we thought they would bid on the Roman Fress fight for the WBO interim, and they didn't bid, and then the fight didn't make any sense. The contract expired, and now there's plenty of options on the table. So it's just an exciting time, to be honest. I think, I'm really, really excited about this year. Maybe it was everything happens for a reason last year, but I wanted to be out, towards the back end of last year. But in the long run, it might pay dividends.
I think I saw interviews saying like you was offered like Jack Massey and those sorts of names. Obviously, you want these bigger names at world level, don't you, rather than these domestic dust-ups at this stage of your career? Yeah,
I'm a world-class fighter. My last fight was against Brandon Glanton, who's now fighting for the IBF and Ring Magazine. So it goes to show that I'm world level. I know where I'm at, and I'm still improving, and I'm a much better fighter than I showed in that last fight. Even though I won convincingly, I think there's so much more to come from me. I think the breakthrough the summer last year really did me good, and I'm really excited about 2026.
So speaking of 2026 then, where are we at with this new promoter and fights and stuff? What can you tell us about these talks that I'm assuming you've been involved with since your boxer deal expired?
There's nothing signed. There's just so many opportunities for me from all over the world. And a lot of people are interested, even though I don't have a belt and haven't boxed since April, I'm still one of the biggest names in the division, and been called out by a lot of people. So it's nice to be in that position, to be honest, even though I haven't boxed since last April. We're 10 months on from that now, so it's a really good position to be in. And in the gym and stuff, everything's working. So we're waiting for whatever opportunities arises. There's plenty of talks going on now. Me and the team are discussing plenty of big things and with different people and seeing whatever deal is right for me.
Any truth in these Zuffa rumours I've been hearing?
Zuffa rumours?
Yeah.
From
just a few different sources on the grapevine.
What are the rumours?
That you could be signing with them.
Well, there's options throughout all over the world. We've spoke to every big promoter. We've had conversations with all of them. So Zuffa being one of them, conversations have been had, but also conversations have been had with other American promoters, English promoters, Boxer. All those negotiations and talks are still happening. So there's plenty of opportunities. It's just figuring out which one's right for me.
Yeah, I mean, so obviously you're clearly weighing up your options. What is it at this stage of your career? We mentioned 35 years old now. What is it that would make you choose one promoter over another, money aside?
Opportunities, and opportunities are different to every fighter, right? In terms of what's on the line in a fight, where the fight is for me is it can whether it's over in the UK or America, that'd be my two biggest goals. I know I boxed over here last time, but get back to headlining, all those things that matter to me, and that's when I perform my best. So there's lots of different variables. I think they're different for every fighter. Some fighters are driven just solely by money, some are just solely by belts, some are just want to fight in their hometown, and all those things, and they all play a part. So I think it just depends on who can offer what and what opportunities, and then also what comes off the back of it, not just the next fight, but a 2, 3, 4 fight plan. So that's it's all important.
Yeah. Obviously few fights left. I know you want the biggest names. I think it was a Sky interview I saw with you recently actually, where your hit list is Mikaelyan, Benavidez and Opetaia in that order. Obviously we now know that Jai is fighting your previous opponent Brandon Glanton March 8th. Zurdo fights in May, which is probably why you have already said you wanted Mikaelyan first for the WBC strap. I think you're high up at third in the rankings for the WBC at the minute as well. Will we see that fight next or this year? Is that been talked about in all these discussions?
I'd love it next. Yeah, I think it'd be perfect for me to go next with Opetaia fighting in March, and then the other two belts getting boxed for in May. I'd love to box for the WBC. He's the only one that hasn't got a fight scheduled, so that would make perfect sense to me. And then that would be I got asked my ideal next 3 opponents, and I think in that order that would be it. But there's lots of variables. 2 of them, 3 of the belts have got fights. They could go. Zurdo could win, so it he could enter the picture. Glanton could win. You never know what's going to happen, but that would be the ideal outcome.
On Jai Opetaia, I was quite surprised, as was a lot of the boxing world, when he signed with Zuffa Boxing, given all he wants and speaks about is belts and being undisputed, isn't it? And obviously Zuffa initially looking to move away from the traditional belts and just have their own. What's your thoughts on Zuffa Boxing and these proposed changes to the Reform Act? Obviously, I think that the bill has recently passed through a House committee vote, but still needs full congressional approval. It's obviously been quite controversial, hasn't it, with some saying it destroys the firewall that's going to keep the sport honest. The UFC has obviously long faced allegations of suppressing fighter pay, that type of thing, which some saying they're trying to do with this. What's your thoughts on Zuffa?
I don't think they could be. I don't think you can enter boxing and get the likes of Usyk and Jai Opetaia to sign if you're not paying very well. I think everyone that enters boxing, whether that's when Turkey first came in, he was paying well and was paid well. Boxer did the same. You have to make a splash, otherwise who's going to sign with you when you're an unknown entity? And they have probably more clout than someone who's just started a company because they've got combat sports background and have made a phenomenal business in the UFC. But yeah, and then they've gone and signed 2 champions that are seen as the number one in the division. Usyk's obviously undisputed at heavyweight, so he's got all the belts. So whether they want to just get rid of all them and make him Zuffa champion, I don't know. But if for me, it's the belts mean something to me. But at the same time, there's plenty of champions that have had a belt for a long time and never boxed anyone and don't have a legacy. And for me, legacy means a lot because it's my own personal goals and achievements, and that's what matters. You know, the opponents a lot of the time are more important than can be more important than the belts, depending at what stage. But it's once again, there's many variables in play. But you know, Opetaia has seen. Me and him have sort of been on some sort of collision course for a few years. Zurdo put a spanner in the works, I think, there. But yeah, I think, you know, he signed with them. So there's that signing them, that's one of the pluses of Zuffa. But then there's other governing bodies, other promotional outfits that also have plenty of opportunities and pluses to them. So but I think with the belt, so I think time will tell and see what their plan is. And but I think, like I said, I think the money side of things, they must be paying well to sign 2 huge names.
Yeah. You know, like when you talk about like promotional belts like this new Zuffa belt and stuff, historically they have, I suppose, like struggled for acceptance, haven't they? Without alignment from established bodies. But having Opetaia as champion, if he beats Glanton, adds immediate credibility to the Zuffa belt, doesn't it? I suppose in a way they've essentially like imported credibility by signing him rather than building it from the ground up, which is what I think their initial plan was.
I do think legacy of the belt, it has to start somewhere if they're going to create a belt. But I do think the legacy of the other belts holds a lot of weight because of the legacy, and you can't buy a legacy, you have to create it. So so I guess it's a bit like experience, right? You can't buy experience, you have to go through it. And I think that's the same thing with anyone who wanted to start a new belt. Yeah.
Obviously now Jai wants to be the first undisputed champion, including the Zuffa belt. I suppose his goal hasn't changed really, has it? Obviously he's sorted something now with Zuffa, so where he can still challenge for those other belts. He faced off with Mikaelyan, didn't he, at Zuffa's debut show, and he's now fighting Glanton. He can't seem to get that unification fight, no matter what promoter is with, can he? Why do you think that is? Surely, if he's doing that face-off, that tells me that there must have been talks ongoing for them two to fight.
Maybe down the line. There's so many things that happen in this business, so many face-offs we've seen over the years, and fights have never happened after those face-offs, but it promotes both fighters and the business. You know, having a face-off with another champion, no matter where it is, it promotes everyone, and that's what I think sometimes gets lost in the sport. Is it is a business, and it's a business first, professional boxing, and it took me a while to realise that, but you soon learn it, and you have to always remember that.
Yeah. Jai obviously always says all these other fighters are ducking him. With Zurdo fighting someone like Benavidez, that makes me think that Zurdo isn't ducking anybody if he's willing to fight the Mexican monster. He's obviously previously said you have ducked him as well, but just to clarify, you obviously couldn't take that fight at the time because you wouldn't have been able to do a full camp. I think he was on holiday at the time. That's right, I'm right on saying that.
Yeah, and I actually called him out first after the Chamberlain fight. His manager was ringside that night, and we tried to get Opetaia to fight at the stadium instead of Lawrence. All the other belts were held up, so we went for Lawrence, which was our last choice because we had a relationship with Lawrence as a gym. So it worked out well for me in the end. But there's been loads of things with Jai, and things that have been said, and which I think he's just used for promotional reasons, which is fine, whatever. But there's also been a lot of lies, and maybe either he's getting miscommunicated to, or somewhere along the line there's a miscommunication, because there's plenty of things in there that aren't true. But I do believe that, at some point over the next couple of years, we'll be getting it on.
Yeah, well, it's the fight all of us fans here in Britain want to see. You obviously mentioned the collision course with Jai a moment ago. So with a full camp, can you categorically say that you want that fight, and how would you beat him?
Yeah, absolutely want that fight. I think he's a tricky customer. He's got great feet. He's got great power. Don't want to give too much away, but yeah, no, there's a lot to be said for my future. I think in terms of my style and stuff. I think this year I'll really show the very best of me, and I don't think I've been anywhere near it yet.
Still got a lot more to come then.
Yeah, plenty.
Brilliant. In that interview I saw with Sky, I think you also obviously put Benavidez on that hit list. So you obviously want Benavidez to beat Zurdo so you can fight him. But am I right in saying you think Zurdo's going to beat Benavidez?
It's not necessarily I want Benavidez to win. I really like Zurdo, a proper gentleman, a lovely guy. We had a great fight. We had a great respectful build-up. I do think I edge towards Zurdo because he's proven it at cruiserweight. Benavidez is obviously huge at the weights still, but at light heavy. But yeah, it's not necessarily I want Benavidez. I just think people will be more interested in that fight. He's a huge name. He's probably a bigger name than Zurdo is. And stylistically, it'd be a hell of a fight. I mean, me and Zurdo was a great fight, but I think me and Benavidez would definitely top that. I think stylistically, it'd be one of the best fights ever.
Yeah, I mean, you'd like to think that if Benavidez does win, then he will stay at cruiser, and there'll be that opportunity there for you, especially if you manage to get another belt beforehand. That is a big unification fight, potentially, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, and that might be my ticket to Vegas.
There is another fight in the cruiserweight division. It's hot at the minute, isn't it? The cruiserweight division. The other fight on everybody's lips is obviously Benavidez versus Jai Opetaia, which could happen if the stars align. In your professional opinion, if it did happen, can you break it down for me? How would you see that fight going?
Really interesting, because Benavidez has a good punch output. It's so hard to know until you see him at cruiserweight. I think things can change. People can put the weight on in the wrong way. I'm not saying he will, but people can just not have as much effect at a higher weight because they're still big punches. They still got a higher punch output, but people can absorb more, and because they're just bigger men. Jai's not the biggest cruiserweight, but he's still a fully fledged cruiserweight and has proven himself at cruiserweight, beating Breedis. So yeah, it's a really interesting fight, and I think whoever's winning that is probably it's not going early, that's for sure. I don't think that's going early, that fight. I think you'd think it would be very end of the fight, but I think once again it'd be a fantastic fight. Jai's sort of gritted it out before, late on against Breedis, and he might have to do the same in that style of fight.
Yeah. Last one.
If I don't get to him first.
Yeah. Last one from me before we wrap up. Obviously, I love all the motivational stuff you do. We're already in February. I imagine there's plenty of folk who've already blobbed their New Year's resolutions and stuff. Obviously, your motto is consistency builds success. So for those who are on the verge of giving up whatever that New Year's resolution was, what would your message to those people be?
Stay consistent. No matter how small it is, just turn up. I think doing something every day small is huge, and consistency compounds over time, and that's why I've been able to have any success. I was actually thinking today I'll do an article now for my local paper, and I got an E in GCSE English, and now I'm doing an article for a newspaper, which is very, very funny. So was that
the Bournemouth Echo?
Yeah, the Daily Echo,
I've seen
Bournemouth.
It, yeah.
So I write about whatever, AFC Bournemouth mostly, and haven't got much news on me at the moment. So mostly about Bournemouth, which is fun to write about as a fan. But yeah, it's it just goes to show that where you start isn't where you have to finish, and I think that's always important. But find motivation, look for it, search for it, and and eventually just build the discipline.
On that note, we'll end that there. Thanks very much, mate. Appreciate the time.
Cheers, mate.